Meet Phil Sklar, co-founder of the National Bobblehead Hall of Fame and Museum.
Our dream is to make Milwaukee, Wisconsin the bobblehead capital of the world.
At American Family Insurance, we believe your dreams are the most valuable things you will ever own. So today, we're supporting Phil's dream.
If people would like to be a part of the bobblehead dream, we take donations in money or bobbleheads.
Every dream deserves a champion. Find yours at amfam.com. American Family Insurance.
American Family Mutual Insurance Company and its affiliates. 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin, 53783.
What running back sounds like he's plummeting toward round 2 of the NFL draft? What wide receiver should you be looking at in your Dynasty League after the Big Three? And what Dynasty draft prop bets have we cooked up for you this evening? Plus, 2016 FFPC Dynasty 500 number 8 champion Terry Simonson joins us to discuss the success he's enjoyed in the FFPC and how trading those coveted rookie picks away helped him to a high-stakes title. We've got a great show for you. Dave Gerzak is here. I'm Eric Balkman. Stick around. Your high-stakes fantasy football hour starts now.
Of a master plan. Cause ain't nothing but sweat inside my hands. So I dig into my pocket, all my money spent. So I get deeper, but still coming up for lint. So I start my mission, leave my residence, thinking how could I get some dead presidents? I need money. I used to be a stick-up kid, so I think of all the devious things I did. I used to roll up, this is a hole up. Ain't nothing funny, stop smiling. You still don't nothing move but the money. But now I learn that.
Broadcast live and heard around the world. You are now listening to the most entertaining hour of radio on the planet. It's the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour presented by MyFFPC.com with your hosts Eric Balkman and Dave Gerzak. The High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour is your home for football analysis from the best fantasy players in the world. And now, because no one else was available, here are Eric Balkman and Dave Gerzak.
I don't like to dream about getting paid, so I dig into the books of the rhymes that I made.
Thanks a lot, Rob. Greetings and salutations, all you Balkaholics and Gerzakin addicts. Welcome to the latest episode of the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour presented by MyFFPC.com and the Fantasy Sports Radio Network. I'm your slightly above average host, Eric Balkman. My co-host is the patron saint of fantasy football, the Dizzle, Dave Gerzak. Coming up on tonight's show, will Christian McCaffrey be the first running back off the board tomorrow? What side of the NFL draft prop bet should you be on? In an interview with FFPC 500 number 8 Dynasty winner Terry Simonson on how he got it done and what prospects he's looking at for his 112 rookie draft pick. Shout out to the chat room right now. Feel free to post any questions you all might have in there. If you want to connect with us on Twitter, you can do so at HSFF Hour, at Eric Balkman, at David Gerzak. Terry Simonson is on Twitter at TSIMY, that's T-Simy. You can post on our Facebook page at facebook.com/the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour 2. If you want to chime in and talk with us, give us a call at 347-426-3682. That's 347-GAME-OVER. You can also email the show at the inbox, highstakesfantasyfootball@gmail.com. Get those questions to us now. Our producer and mutual friend Rob, audio engineer Bryce, we'll get those questions to us later on in the show after we speak with Terry Simonson about his success in his high-stakes victory last year. We are celebrating a victory tonight because, once again, we have made it alive and mostly well to the cusp of the NFL draft for yet another year, Dave Gerzak. And here we are. It starts tomorrow. It's weird because the Fantasy Sports Radio Network people are going to be listening to this on Saturday, so we're going to be talking about a bunch of stuff that is, they know have already happened. Yeah. And, of course, anybody who's downloading it later is going to be like, what the hell are these guys talking about? This has happened. And we will be in Chicago partying it up with Andrew Howard, Jack Hahn, Two-Packer, and the like.
It'll be great.
You excited?
I'm really excited, actually, because now I know that, in the past couple of years, we'd go down and it would be really cold. Oddly enough, it'd be cold.
It always was cold, yeah.
And then we'd have to sit outside, and it kind of sucked a little bit. It was fun, and it sucked, and it was fun, and it sucked. And then afterwards, it was really fun.
Yeah.
Now we just do the fun part.
Right, and the warm part.
The fun and the warm.
Yeah.
That's good.
So it'll be early morning driving down to Chicago, and
For no reason, even though the draft's in Philly.
I still don't know how we, landed on this, but
Two-Packer talked us into it.
Yeah, I guess he did. It doesn't take much. I wish I could talk him into a Martavis Bryant trade. More on that later. Maybe. I don't know.
He's been talking about that forever.
Yeah, I think it's dead. I think Martavis Bryant is going to be on my squad this year. The main event early bird time is ticking away. The end of May is your deadline to make sure that you get $100 off your first main event team for that. Dave, additional teams $250 off. Is that correct, or is it $200? I always forget. $250. Okay.
$1,500.
So $250 off each additional team. After that, register For your Planet Hollywood room rate discount right now, you can check out the FFPC forums on the FFPC website for your discount code there. You can click through. Live high-stakes leagues, of course, going on out in Vegas as well. Those are filling up fast. Once again, they filled up fast last year. They're going at the same rate or faster this year. Dynasty startups, of course, kick off in 2.5 weeks, roughly.
Yeah, May 13th is when most of them are starting. There's a couple spots open. Well, actually, there's spots in the, let's see, $77 now.
Yep.
$250, and then those are the ones going May 13th, and then we have higher stakes leagues that are going a couple weeks after that.
Yeah, May 27th, and then June 10th, I want to say, are the other ones, something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
So check that out at myffpc.com. Of course, you want to do any DEs, classics, super flexes. They are going on tonight, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every single night this weekend. Actually, I don't think they're going on Saturday.
They're not going on tomorrow. They're not going on Friday. There's the draft. We're not doing
No, there's live sats scheduled.
live Saturday.
Yes, absolutely there are.
Oh.
Did you not read the FFPC email that went out today?
Yes, I did read it. I just didn't check out the date.
And since Bulky did it, I'm sure it was wrong. So I just assumed it was wrong.
Did you get the word please spelled correctly?
Yeah, I fixed that. I got that fixed.
You added the
Don't
E.
worry about that. I added the E, yeah. I want to thank Roto World and Rob for tonight's rundown. Once again, check out all those leagues at mine.
Don't be ashamed, Bulky. Everybody makes mistakes on spelling stuff.
No, I'm not ashamed. But I mean, I am a journalism major. I should be able to handle these.
Do you have Grammarly? Do you ever use Grammarly?
No, I don't.
It's GR. I mean, you know how to spell grammar and then LY.
Yeah.
It's like a Chrome extension, and there's a page.
What? It's a Chrome extension?
Yeah, it's free.
Shut up!
Yeah,
I got to start using this.
Yeah, it's totally free. And then Grammarly's not paying us. It's a Chrome extension. It's free. And then I think there is a pay service if you want like the super how to write. It'll fix your sentence structure. This would be great for
the
me.
Eric Balkman edition.
It doesn't teach me to speak more properly, but that's okay.
So what does it actually do in Chrome then?
It'll turn everything. Like if you have one of my problems when I
So
write
what do you do? Do you just copy and paste text into the?
No, it'll like as you're typing something, it'll notice when.
Oh, because I'm typing. I gotcha. I are stupid. Now I figured it out.
I tend to put too many commas into sentences.
Yeah.
So then it's telling me remove comma.
And I'm the exact opposite. And that's probably why I took out the E of please, is because I was always taught write short, write concise, get rid of all the extra stuff. And sometimes I take care of the necessary stuff and get it right out of it.
You don't need that extra E.
Yes, you definitely don't. Breaking news into the show tonight, Dave.
Yes. Marvin.
The Raiders have acquired running back Marshawn Lynch.
Oh, my goodness.
And a 2018 sixth-round pick from Seattle in exchange for a fifth-round pick next year. This according to Jay Glazer. On Twitter, Lynch was in Oakland today to take his physical, which obviously we're all hoping, especially me, that he passes. He has been pretty healthy throughout his career, so we don't – and he's had a year off.
Deal on the trade.
Don't anticipate. I think there's, they didn't want to do anything in 2017 because you don't know what Marshawn Lynch is capable of. So these were both 2018
I would have only
picks.
done this deal if I was the Seahawks because that's such a minuscule trade as if I would have called no trade backs.
Yeah. No trade backs. Lynch getting a 2-year deal. It was insane. I don't have the figures in front of me here, but I thought it was like $9 million was like the base, and it was worth up to like $12.5 million in incentives, something like that. It was insane. Yeah, it was crazy.
The deal?
Go to Roto World.
I thought they were talking about $3 million to start. I thought they were talking exactly about the numbers we were talking about last week.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Go to Roto World right now and search for Lynch, and that should be the latest update on there. Anyway, Marshawn Lynch, he actually just celebrated his 31st birthday. He will be running behind one of the top offensive lines in the NFL, a very, very significant improvement from the line he was running behind in Seattle in 2015. So very good news for me as well, because if Marshawn Lynch does indeed come back, it is going to be a banner day for me, tying up the board.
Base of $9 million.
Base of $9 million, yeah.
His agent, that's amazing.
He's the man. He is the man. So Marshawn Lynch back in Oakland.
This is almost like cheating to me. I'm okay. Tell me this isn't cheating. Does the Seahawks give him away to the Raiders? It's like a guy that's getting $9 million. They just give him away for like nothing.
Yeah, I mean, they get a pick, and they had to give up a pick too. So they essentially moved up around from the 6th to the 5th. Yeah. That's BS.
Well,
we'll see what happens. 31-year-old running back with a lot of tread on his tires, and they do have two young guns behind him.
Yeah, that's fine. But if they're going to pay him $9 million, they should pay up on the trade a little bit.
Yeah, well, you make a fair point, my friend. Prior to Oakland reaching that agreement with Marshawn Lynch, draft analyst Tony Pauline was actually told by a Raiders source that Oakland expected Florida State running back Dalvin Cook to still be on the board when they came on the clock at 24th overall. That source also said Oakland had no interest in selecting Dalvin Cook there and felt that Joe Mixon was, quote, the wiser choice. Wow. Tony Pauline also said the point was not that the Raiders would draft Mixon, but rather that Dalvin Cook's injuries and his alleged off-the-field issues are greater risks than drafting Mixon. This is...
He fumbles a lot, no offense.
What?
Cook fumbles a lot.
Yeah, he did.
One every 63 carries.
He did have some butterfingers on some catches, too, which was really annoying.
Wow.
The draft analyst Tony Pauline actually predicts that Dalvin Cook will be in round 2 of the NFL draft, Dave.
Myers' bet is looking worse and worse.
Very, very unfortunate for Two-Packer. I do believe he will be buying you dinner Friday night.
I have McCaffrey. He has Dalvin Cook.
And it's just whoever gets drafted first.
Yeah. You know, at the time we made the wager, there was some discussion that said, you know, I felt very confident that it was definitely trending my direction, but I didn't think it would go quite this far.
I don't know if you saw this, what Two-Packer's been tweeting out, but it's just all gobbledygook, but the 4 words that keep coming up again and again over the last, I would say, 12 hours, Christian McCaffrey, diluted sample. So I don't know what to make of it. I don't know if Two-Packer's getting this information somewhere.
He's trying to spread it.
Trying to train wreck Christian McCaffrey so that he can enjoy some lobster on you Friday night.
You know, I almost did as many bench press reps close grip the other day as McCaffrey did. So
yeah.
My 3-cone's not so good, though.
Yeah, probably isn't. You also have a little bit more tread on your tires than McCaffrey.
I probably outweigh him by about 20 pounds right now.
I do believe that might be true as well. Hey, percentage.
What the hell, man?
Well, listen, McCaffrey looks great. What does he weigh?
I look like crap.
What does he weigh? 160? 165?
He's 202.
Oh, well, then there's no way you outweigh him by 20 pounds. Listen, percentage chance Dalvin Cook gets drafted on day 2 right now? 30? 35?
I would say it's higher, actually. I would say it's probably 70.
70%? Yeah. Holy cats.
Well, you know, maybe, you know, this is funny. These people are going to rip on me because he gets drafted.
Right.
You know, there's been a lot of talk about the Buccaneers drafting him at 19, right?
Yeah.
But beyond that.
And then we also heard today that Tampa's trying to look to trade down. Now everybody's looking to trade down, by the way.
Of course, that's the trendy thing.
Yeah.
I think it's 60%. 60.
Yeah. Isn't that what you would feed reporters, by the way?
I would bet $5 to Cook goes in the second round. You want to do 5?
$5. Yeah, let's do that. I'll do that. Okay, so I got 5.
You're an FSU fan.
Yeah. I got 5 on Dalvin Cook, still going in the first round.
I'll take 5 on Cook going in the second round or later. All right, that'll be fun.
That'll be a good one. Well, boy, a lot of Dalvin Cook action going on between the 3 of us here.
Yeah.
Dalvin, first, second. Okay. Isn't that what you would, if you're a GM or a source, as it were, wouldn't you be feeding reporters, we're looking to trade down, just put out as many lines as possible and see who bites it and see if you can actually get a deal? Because to me, if you're trading down, if you're saying you want to trade down right now, you're saying there's nobody that we really like. Mm-hmm. Well, you know, we would
assume it's a lie. So then that means that there must be somebody you like.
Right. That's what I'm thinking.
I feel like the Patriots do the best job of this, and this year it doesn't matter as much because of the trades and stuff, but they just don't say anything, and they never let anything leak. It's like Belichick's like, I will murder you and your family if you say anything about the draft.
Can I tell you why New England screws with so many people at this time of year? They're completely honest.
I don't think they say anything. Do they say stuff?
Like you ask them about like a player, and you're like, yeah, you know, we think he's a really good football player. And then that's it. And they'll believe that. But then because they're the Patriots, it gets all analyzed and dissected to death. So
I think telling the truth might be the way to go. I mean,
I totally agree because nobody believes you would be.
Yeah, if Tampa Bay liked Dalvin Cook at 19, they should leak it out. We like Dalvin Cook at 19.
We are enamored with Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, so if you want him, you better trade ahead of him.
That's exactly
right.
And
then just take him.
And then trade down and draft, Mixon and get like an extra 3rd round pick or whatever it is, 2nd round pick. NFL Network's Daniel Jeremiah said he would not be surprised if Christian McCaffrey goes off the board before the number 8 pick. Number 8 pick was highlighted by Jeremiah since Carolina has been frequently mentioned as in many mock drafts in the Twitterverse and draft Twitter that the Panthers are targeting McCaffrey. Their Roto World's Josh Norris suggested early yesterday that the Chargers could be a potential destination at 7 for Christian McCaffrey. Daniel Jeremiah's quote, here's the thing with McCaffrey. Even teams with established running backs love him. They can use him so many ways. That makes sense for San Diego. It makes sense for Carolina. It makes sense for a lot of people. I saw a mock today, and I can't remember who wrote this. It was somebody from Fantasy Pros. Damn it. It drives me nuts when I can't attribute this. Yeah, I believe he had... No, maybe it wasn't Fantasy Pros mock draft. Anyway, I saw a mock draft today. Number 2 overall, San Francisco, Christian McCaffrey.
What?
Yes.
No way.
I am not even kidding. That's what I saw today. It's just craziness, the McCaffrey love.
Yeah, so can I tout my my football guys post a little bit here?
Are you looking for it?
I'm finding it. Don't worry about it. Okay, so March 18th. This is back whenever.
This is over a month ago, about 5 weeks ago. Over 5 weeks ago.
I post on footballguys.com. Given that, one, the McCaffrey thread is getting the most post-action interest of all the 2017 prospects. 2, McCaffrey had the best combine of all the running backs and receivers. 3, there's been a lot of NFL chatter of McCaffrey moving up and getting drafted earlier. 4, Dalvin Cook, bad combine. Corey Davis didn't participate. Mike Williams did little. And then number 5 is only one of the top 5 or 6 players trending up. 6, no injury history. 7, amazing numbers. 8, incredible work ethic. Has been set in 9. It's been said that his pass catching is so strong that he could be a wide receiver, so he's PPR gold. And then 10, all it takes is one person out of 12 that likes McCaffrey. Either just draft him or move ahead of you to get him. And I said, my final, summing it up, thinking one can get McCaffrey at the 105 to 106 once the actual rookie drafts roll around is wishful thinking. That's because at the time...
Powerful words.
Yeah, 105 and 106, I think, was where he was drafted in the Football Guys mock. And then this total dickhead, Hank Moody, hey, sorry.
But why don't name drop?
Whatever. He goes, this is so wrong. It's not far-fetched at all that McCaffrey could be there. Plenty of other guys have good things going for them. It's entirely likely he's not a top 4 pick. He's not in my top 4. And then he, by the way, like a couple days ago, he backtracked on the whole thing and said he's moving up to 102. I already moved up to 102. I moved up to 102 right around that time. I moved up to 102 in another league. And now I'm not going to get him at 102 in some leagues. He might go at 101.
He might go at 101.
So annoyed at that, but I'm glad we made that prognostication. Hopefully our listeners are moving up on the way up.
Well, I'm glad you called him out on the show. So
he doesn't listen to the show.
By the way, is your avatar on the Football Guys message board Shad Khan? Is that his name?
Yeah, Shad Khan.
Jacksonville owner?
Yeah, kind of like
That's funny.
Just say Hank Moody's fine. He's a good guy.
All right, so Hank Moody's fine, and so is Terry Simonson, who we have coming up in just a couple of minutes here. Last thing I want to get to before we get to Terry. The NFL conditionally reinstated suspended Steelers receiver
Gordon?
Martavis Bryant. Steelers receiver. What, do you still own Gordon in any Dynasty leagues?
Oh, yeah, I'm a bag holder.
Oh, my God. That's not even a bag holder. That's like a pouch.
Actually,
that's a pouch holder.
I drafted Gordon a couple of years ago in a startup in like the 13th, so it's okay.
Anyway, this is Bryant's second NFL suspension that he has been reinstated from, 407 days long. Think of the guys who did not come back after getting indefinitely banned: Justin Blackmon, Darrell Washington, who actually I think was just reinstated after 3 years, and Josh Gordon, the aforementioned Josh Gordon, failed to make it back. Bryant, looking good, ahead of the curve. He is obviously only one mistake away from being permanently ineligible, so you are walking on thin ice if you own him in Dynasty.
Dude, the thing that's crazy is this is all pot.
Looking at me.
You know, these guys are getting suspended for weed, and it's like pot is legal in a bunch of states now.
Yeah.
You know, the NFL is like, they're in Leave It to Beaver times, right, is where they're at right now with their drug policy. Go ahead. 25
years old, 14 touchdowns in 21 career games, a career average of 17.3 yards per catch, and the rumor is that he's bulked up 15 to 20 pounds of muscle. I saw a picture of him, looking really good.
Really?
Yeah, and which is tough to do when you're, away from the team and away from the facilities.
Plus, he's not getting the munchies because he's.
Yeah, that's another thing too.
I'll trade you for Bryant. You know what? We should do a trade for Martavis Bryant just to spite two-packer. Let's do it in the car on the way down tomorrow.
Okay, we can do that. Although
we're keeping Terry Simonson off the.
Yeah, I don't know if you and I are gonna settle on something. And Meyer calls it the endowment effect. Whatever. His offers got progressively worse. Mine got progressively better. We were both moving in the same direction.
Well, Brian's value should go up a little bit because of the reinstatement, so I'll grant you that.
Yeah, but even after the reinstatement, we couldn't get anything. We couldn't get any headway going. Anyway, let's get some headway going into this break. Eric Balkman and Dave Gerzak on the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour. Coming up next, FFPC Dynasty 500 number 8 league champion, Terry Simonson, coming at you. We're going to preview the NFL draft. We're going to talk about the rookies and maybe some veteran discussion as well. This is the Fantasy Sports Radio Network. NFL Draft Weekend has arrived. Thank you if you are listening to the Fantasy Sports Radio Network of our show right now. We recorded this Wednesday night because myself, Eric Balkman, and Dave Gerzak will be down in Chicago taking in the draft festivities from what's the name of the bar? Timmy O'Toole's? Is that what it is?
Timmy O'Toole.
Yeah,
so
right. We'll be watching there. And then,
but, it's okay to listen. By the way, the other day I listened to Casey Kasem from 1983, the Top 40 Countdown.
Yeah.
So if I can listen to something that old and listen to Duran Duran's Rio, you can listen to a show that's a couple days old.
Yeah, you definitely can. And let's face it, Gerzak has a better voice than Casey Kasem.
Oh, my God. His voice is so great, isn't it?
Yeah, it is fantastic. He was actually the voice of Shaggy in Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo cartoon.
I didn't know that.
I suppose everybody I say that to now, I already know it, so I got to find some new material.
I'm super old. When I went home from grade school, I used to watch Scooby-Doo.
I ain't far behind you, my friend. This is the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour. Let's bring in tonight's guest. He started playing fantasy football back in the mid-1990s. Hey, that's when I started playing. The FFPC was his first foray into Dynasty and High Stakes 3 years ago. And the first thing he did in his Dynasty League, trade Jimmy Graham in a tight end premium league. Always a good decision, Dave. He works for a liquor distributor, so he spends a lot of time on the road, indulged in podcasts, hopefully including this one. You can follow him on Twitter at TSIMY, coming straight out of Wisconsin Dells. Welcome aboard, nice. Terry Simonson. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight, man.
Hey, thanks, from the water park capital of the world.
It really is.
Did you ride in on a go-kart?
Yes.
Did you just ride around on
those?
Or
did you come down, what's the big, is it the big kahuna that's at Noah's Ark, the big huge slide?
I'm sure he drives around in a duck all the time.
Yeah.
He just goes in the river when he wants to.
That's what I would be doing.
Hey, first job in high school was Big Chief go-karts.
That's awesome.
That
would be
got to throw people off the
you just put the kids in there and you go nuts, kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I'll be back after the theater. Don't worry.
When was the last time you were at a water park, Dave? How long's it been?
Okay, well, I'm Norwegian and super pale, so it's been like a couple decades.
Well, listen, I'm
conscientious about my paleness, boss.
I'm Czechoslovakian German, so I'm a different shade of white.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, but it has been a long time. I got to get back down to Wisconsin Dells. In fact, the last time I was there was, I think, for a bachelor party, which was also a fantastic place to have a bachelor party. Let's get on here and talk to Terry. Terry, we'll get into fantasy football in a second. You are a liquor distributor for a living. Tell us a little bit about what that's like and what your day-to-day is like there.
Yeah, so I'm pretty much on the road every day, checking out bars and restaurants, running the routes, making sure they're all stocked up, and running specials with our brands.
What brands do you rep, just curiously?
Most of the big ones, Captain, Doctor, Absolute, Jameson. We're pretty fortunate. We sell a lot of good brands. So
those are a lot of good brands.
You got to let a little bit fall off the truck while we're right behind you.
Dave is more of a apple pucker type of guy, though. I don't know if you carry any of that apple pucker. You like the butterscotch schnapps is another big one for Dave. So
I remember
that's
talking
very cool.
in the past about the Captain knockoff. We can't be drinking that now.
Oh, that's right. That was the
Which one? There's so many.
No, it's the Bacardi Oakland.
But I mean, so many out there. You try to imitate the best.
Yeah, what's it? Sailor Jerry.
Sailor Jerry, that's another one. Or Admiral Nelson, that's another real popular one. Yes. Well, we will. Captain Morgan will put through the paperwork to make it the official liquor of the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour, just to make sure that we can avoid any sort of confrontation from you on that, Terry. So we definitely appreciate that.
Great.
Terry, okay, so first of all, congratulations on the 500 number 8 title. And in my amazing amount of research, I looked up the people in your league, and this is a cornucopia of really good high stakes players. So I'm going to call out to some of these guys. This isn't an insult, but I mean, these are great players. Eric Hillensburg, Wicked Clowns, Jeff Gill, Josh Heyman.
Former guest of the show.
And Josh's partner is Gianmarco.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Mark Piriano, Michigan Fanatic.
Another former guest of the show.
Scott McMunson, John Rozek, the Champs.
Yep.
Alan Kleinerman, known as the Milkman, on the Football Guys message boards. And by the way, speaking of Football Guys message boards, the Milkman, I always see his posts, and I always kind of agree with him. So I like Alan.
Unlike what's his name?
Yeah, Hank Moody.
Hank Moody. Yeah.
Tejas is in that one.
Yeah, Tejas Badiwala.
Tony Wilhelm and Matt Nespoli.
Wow, that's
an amazing
league.
That
is a star-studded league.
By the way, so before I ask the question, do you like the league? Is your league really cool? Guys are great.
Yeah, it's been good, and it's been pretty steady. We've only turned over like one or two teams every year, which is great. People aren't afraid to trade. they're a little bit harder to trade with because they know what's going on. But it's fun to work out trades when everybody knows what's going on.
Yeah, that's great. So this is your second top 2 finish in the last 3 years. So what have you been able to do to get this team competing and staying consistent at a championship level since 2014?
Pretty much been selling off picks and everything on my bench. So I'm not too deep, but I'm not afraid to throw it out for the big stars and the big point getters.
So it's the Rick Road strategy.
Yeah, it's the Rick Road strategy. And Terry, Glenn Lowy, who we've had on this show before, but on the High Stakes Lowdown a couple of months ago, he was talking about how he runs his dynasties, and he said, look, elite talent over everything else, and he just prefers to fill in the cracks, do some patchwork stuff with the bench in the offseason, throughout the season, but just try to get as many of those elite talents as possible. Has that sort of been your similar strategy?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I got some guys that nobody wants to touch with a 10-foot pole, so I keep plugging them in. So I guess it's kind of worked out.
Definitely. Listen, let's talk about a trade that you made in mid-November of 2016. You give up Tyreek Hill, Hunter Henry, Kenneth Dixon, and a third-rounder in this year's draft. And then in exchange, you get Jordan Reed, Tavon Austin, Matt Asiata. Tell us what made you decide to pull the trigger on that specific swap.
It kind of happens fast when somebody says, okay, maybe I would think about dealing this guy. It's, you know what, I don't mess around. I try to make as good as offers I can right off the bat. Let them know I'm serious and we can get it done. And, I just needed Reed, I figured would just put me over the edge and lock up a pretty good year. Of course, he didn't pan out so much in the playoffs, but he got me there, and we'll roll with him this year too.
Yeah, you still have Reed, definitely. So speaking of that, I want to talk a little bit about this trade with you giving up my boy Tyreek Hill at Balky, right?
Yeah, I would say he's your boy. He's in your squadron of boys.
One of my boys, Tyreek Hill. So you kept Jeremy Maclin on your team, you traded away Tyreek Hill. Do you think the Maclin has a bounce back season for Kansas City this year?
I'm not sure he's going to be anything great. If we get 10 to 12 out of him every week, that'd be great. With everybody else I got. I had Hill off the free agent. I had him for only like a week or two, and it was like hot potato. I think that's what pushed the deal over the top. So, it really wasn't anything to do with Maclin other than nobody would take Maclin. So it was just kind of another chip, and I figured, well, I can really get away with as many tight ends as I've had as only using 2 wide receivers. So it's kind of my thinking in that.
And to be fair to Terry, this was a mid-November deal. Tyreek Hill was just kind of sort of emerging. So it's like, if it was like late December.
He wasn't even one of your boys back then.
He was not one of my boys.
Not at that point in the season he wasn't.
No, because I had to trade for him and all these things because I was just too stupid to pick him up.
Right. Terry, on this trade, this is a trio of young talent that you had given up with Hill, Henry, and Dixon. If you had the opportunity to do this, to do any changes to this deal, would you have maybe second guessed trading Hill, Henry, or Dixon, or are you good with, look, I got Reed, he's an elite tight end, I'm going to take my chances with that?
Yeah, I think I would have liked to have Hill now, but looking back, he really didn't have that many. He had about 4 weeks over 15 points. So, I won it. So, I think it was a good move. And, God, Dixon I had everywhere, so it was hard to let him go. But I had a pretty good core, so I just went with it.
Let's talk about Kenneth Dixon here as long as we're on the subject, because he was a guy that a lot of redraft owners last year were very excited about Dixon coming back and maybe, with that preseason injury or early season injury, maybe really taking the reins of that Baltimore job. That really never came to be. Now you look at what Baltimore could do in the draft. Terry, as a guy who owns them in a lot of spots, are you nervous that Dixon might not be anything more than a handcuff after the NFL draft, or do you think that he has carved out a significant role in that Baltimore backfield?
Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence with him. When I made the trade, I was on the fence with him then too. I like I think he can catch the ball. They like to toss it down to him. But yeah, you always hold your breath when the draft comes for every guy you have pushed aside.
You know, one thing, Dave, that Dixon has going for him, who's the playmaker on Baltimore right now?
Oh, Steve Smith.
Yeah, not him. He retired.
He's gone.
I mean, okay, let me ask you this. Let me rephrase. If you're Bill Belichick and you're playing Baltimore, you want to take away their best weapon. Who's their best weapon?
You know, this is a way to confuse Belichick. Don't have
anybody good.
Yeah. What do you do now?
We're gonna trot out all these average players.
Yeah.
And you know what? Baltimore probably win the game 9-8.
Yeah. Our team is all sixes.
That's funny. So I mean, the opportunity is there for Dixon to take control. We'll see what Baltimore does in the draft. I have a feeling that they will be addressing those skill positions early. We're talking to Terry Simonson, the FFPC 500 number 8 champion this past season. Let's talk about the rookies this year, specifically the rookie receivers. This is a question that we've been asking some of the guests over the last month as, you know, I don't know how you'd say it. The sort of description of the top 3 receivers has been sort of set in semi-stone. Corey Davis, Mike Williams, John Ross, they seem to be at a different level. But outside of those 3 receivers, Terry, is there anybody that you are intrigued by? Is there a favorite rookie receiver that is not in that group of 3 there that you think could be a very, very good player in FFPC Dynasty?
Yeah, well, I've got to admit, I haven't done a lot of research yet. I'm a little behind. DFS baseball has been keeping me busy. But, you know, a couple of guys that stood out just doing a little research recently was Godwin and Juju. They seem to be coveted. And, you know, with those other 3 guys going early, those guys will fall down a little bit and maybe be a little bit better value, depending on where they go, of course.
I would say, like, between Godwin and Smith-Schuster, Dave, wouldn't you say that those guys are kind of like the second tier? Because every time we bring that up, those are the 2 names that we hear different names, but they're always like the 2, either the first guys mentioned or the only 2 guys mentioned.
Taywan Taylor is kind of getting there.
Yeah, he's and Zay Jones, yeah.
We're big Godwin fans.
We are big Godwin fans.
I think Allen Robinson. I like they follows Allen Robinson, and then all the USC receivers have sucked. Even though I've told you I don't believe in that, I kind of believe it with the USC receivers.
Really?
Sort of.
Is that the only one that you believe it with? Alabama running backs, Wisconsin running
Schuster
backs?
might be. He's bigger than all those other guys. Those other guys were all short guys. Like Marquise Lee wasn't that big. Robert Woods. I feel like every USC receiver that comes out is like 6'1", 190.
And don't forget about that shrimp Keyshawn Johnson.
Yeah, you know that's like in the 50s. You know, whatever. It's like forever ago, Bucky.
Yeah. All right.
Schuster is like, what do you see? 6'3", 215.
I don't think he's 6'3", but I just like probably like 6'1", 6'2", 220, 215.
All right.
Does that sound right? I think that's right.
Could be.
Well, don't Google it, because Lord knows when we've done that in the past, we get 18 different answers as to how big he is.
6'2", 216.
All right, there you go.
Ish.
Which that seems about right.
All right. Sorry about we're doing the height weight game like we're
like normal.
Like Great America or Disney World. We're trying to.
Or Noah's Ark in beautiful Wisconsin Dells.
Yeah, there you go. Do they play that game at all, Terry? They try and guess your weight. You get a big doll.
Some slides you can't be too heavy, otherwise you can't go down, and you got to take one person off. So.
Yeah, no, that's true. Listen, words to live by if you're ever going to a water park there.
Speaking of heavy, your pick in the rookie dynasty draft is already at the bottom of the pool. It's 112. Who do you think's going to slide there for you that you'd be happy to take?
And that's the thing. I'm not afraid to trade that pick up, trade it and drop back, and maybe get a couple, a second and a third, because you see I don't have many picks. So, if I have to trade that to get some extra bullets, but, tight end, heavy league, if Ingram would be there, that would be ecstatic. Or maybe Samaje Perine, or, I don't know if Godwin will slip that far yet anymore or not. But those are the kind of guys I'm eyeing, but I have no problem falling back and trying to pick up some extra picks. It's kind of what I've done the last couple of years, because I go in with not very many.
How would you, we can bring up the top 5 tight ends again, because we're not doing it justice on this show. We're in a show about a high-stakes fantasy game that awards tight end premium scoring, and we never talk about the tight ends enough. But, Terry, between Njoku and Howard and Engram, Hodges, Everett, is Engram your number 3? Is he number 2 ahead of Njoku? I mean, if you had your druthers, would it be Howard? How would you rank your top 3 tight ends, in your order of preference that you would hope that they would fall to you, if in a perfect scenario?
Yeah, I think with Ingram number 3, they get snatched up so quick. I've had pretty good luck the last 2 drafts. Get with ASJ, who I traded away, and then I had Hunter Henry, obviously I traded away last year. So, we stick with tight end. If I stick with the tight end at that spot, it usually works out pretty well to, they hold their value, if you will.
You're essentially
leaning towards Ingram.
You're essentially, Terry, a tight end flipper.
Yes, I am. Guilty as. And it seemed to work out. Hunter Henry might be good, but it might take a couple of years yet if Gates keeps playing the timeless wonder.
Yeah, Gates will be playing for 3 more years.
Why isn't Antonio Gates being drug tested like every week? By the way, as long as he's alive and playing.
Farrell knows Gates. He's clean.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, Farrell.
I didn't know that.
He knows Antonio Gates.
Farrell Elliott, the Kentucky Fantasy Football State Championship
Gates
commissioner.
Is all good.
How did he meet him?
Who the hell knows?
Through a friend?
Farrell talks to everybody.
Yeah, that's true.
You want to go to if you're gonna go to a bar to meet with ladies, go with Farrell. He's got white hair that's like this white afro. He's a white guy.
Right.
White gray, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
He'll talk to anybody.
Yeah.
This is my friend Eric Balkman over here.
He's a great guy to talk to or to hang out with. Dave, I've also seen in the last couple of days Ingram rising up in mocks to go at the latter part of the first round. First round, Ingram going in. We could be seeing 3 tight ends not only going FFPC rookie drafts, we could see 3 tight ends going in the first round in the NFL draft.
Interesting. I have something to say about some tight ends, whether it's with Terry or we.
Well, go ahead and talk about it now, as long as we're on the subject.
Well, I was reading a Wall Street Journal article, and they were talking about how bad teams and bad organizations draft players like safeties and tight ends early. That they should not be drafting them in the top 10. Not the first round necessarily, but like O.J. Howard or safeties should not be getting drafted in the top 10. And they specifically mentioned the franchise prices of these guys because they're the least valued players from a franchise perspective.
Oh, interesting.
So they're saying that safeties, if you're going to draft a safety, there's still a chance he busts in the top 10 picks, and you're going to pay him top 10 pick money.
Yeah.
Why are you doing that when a franchise-level safety is
getting like quarterbacks, defensive ends, left tackles,
something
like that?
So I thought that was actually a pretty rational and thoughtful way to look at it.
Who wrote it?
I don't know. Some guy.
Great.
Unlike the people at ESPN, I'm sure he's still employed with the Wall Street Journal.
Do you know I got fired by ESPN today?
Oh, my God.
I wasn't even employed there, and I got an email from saying, we regret to inform you, Mr. Balkman, but your services will no longer be needed at ESPN.
Stop sending us resumes.
I don't even know. I never sent them a resume, but somehow I get laid off. We will not be laying off
order, I think.
Yeah, well, that could be. Listen, I've gotten several of those over the years, restraining orders, and I would not be above my intellect to not understand the difference between being fired and getting a restraining order. Let's face it, I go through a half dozen of both of them every single year. Terry Simonson, the FFPC 500 number 8 champion, is our guest tonight here. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about trading away these rookie picks with Terry and how successful he's been at it, especially to get the championship last year. Much more coming up. Eric Balkman, Dave Gerzak, the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour on the Fantasy Sports Radio Network. The HSFF Hour rolls on here on the Fantasy Sports Radio Network. I am Eric Balkman. He is Dave Gerzak, joined tonight by Terry Simonson, the FFPC 500 number 8 Dynasty champion from last year. You can follow him on Twitter at TSIMY. Terry, it's interesting because everybody gets so excited. I mean, we're obviously, we can't wait for the NFL draft. I know you're very excited to see where some of these guys line up. And part of the reason, as Dynasty fantasy owners, we're very excited to see where these guys go, because that will dictate, a big part of that is what's going to dictate where these guys go in our rookie draft. So when we get to this point in the season, we're very excited to have these rookie picks. We've coddled them and we've held them and just petted them. So excited to have them all season long. Now we finally get to use them. But for you, my friend, it has worked out better for you to actually flip these picks for veterans, for future picks, to try to win now. And win now you have. You're still lined up for a very successful 2017 season as well. But you traded away your second, third, fourth round picks from this coming draft. Is this something you like to do to ensure that you're getting the type of talent back, talent that probably has a much lower bust rate than rookies do, rather than gambling on upside of these first-year players that you would draft with those picks? Tell us a little bit about your strategy in swapping out those picks for players.
No, definitely. I'll move them at, no problem. It's nice. I don't have a lot of, I don't trade the blockbuster guys away. So what's the next best thing? You package up, throw in a second or throw in a third. Second's usually gone by about a month into the season, so that one's usually gone pretty fast. So that one doesn't cost me any money for next year, but it's still pretty heavy. So, give me veterans. You can wait on the rookies. I try to, every time I get rid of a second, third, or fourth, I try to at least get like fifths and sixths, so I can at least, shoot some bullets and see if I get anything.
You know what else is interesting too, Terry, and I don't know if you've ever felt like this, but sometimes when I have, this mostly affects my first-round picks and my second-round picks, but when I have those picks and I select a player and they don't start off too hot, and then the word bust is being tossed around halfway through the season, after the first season, and these guys are losing value, sometimes I feel like the smarter thing to do is to cut bait and just, go a different direction with that roster spot. But because I sunk a first-round pick or a high second-round pick in these guys, and I'm thinking of guys like Kevin White, Laquan Treadwell, guys like that.
You drafted Treadwell?
No, I'm saying just, in general.
Sorry.
So, but you look at those guys, and sometimes I feel like it can really hamstring your squad to have these underperforming rookies on, whereas if you trade them for a veteran,
I have punches hanging around.
They are who you thought they were, and you can kind of roll that way. And sometimes I think even if you're trying to set your team up for future success with younger players, it can kind of hamstring you and bite you in the ass. Don't you think so, Terry?
It's a leading question.
Yeah, it is a leading question.
The fewer decisions I have to make on lineup game day, the better. So if I have a light bench, I'm all right with it. I'll go with guys and plug in a couple of veterans. But the fewer decisions I make on game day, the better I seem to do.
All right. You know what? Crystal ball time, Terry. And actually, you know what? I'm going to make a prediction. It's going against my own. I got 5 on it bet. I'm going to say that I think the Packers draft Dalvin Cook.
Okay. We're gonna make, and I got 5 on it on this. Okay.
I'm not gonna bet you. You better give me some.
I will give you odds.
All right.
Okay, because I don't believe. Hold on, let's do it right now. I don't believe Dalvin Cook will go to the Packers in the first round.
Okay.
That is how I'm gonna phrase it. What sort of odds would it take for you?
10-1.
Oh my God, 10-1 for a team that's starting Ty Montgomery right now.
Why don't we talk about this after Terry's?
Fine, we'll get into it later, but because you need to really get back to reality.
8-1.
Welcome back to planet
Terry,
Earth.
Terry, how do you see the touches in the Packers' backfield being split up for 2017? Let's assume that we know Dalvin Cook's going to get picked by him, but let's assume he doesn't.
10-1. I mean, come on.
Yeah, no, they definitely need to draft a running back. I don't know if Montgomery can make it through the year. They throw the ball so much, though. He could get more snaps. No one ever knows what Teddy Thompson's thinking, so it's hard to know if he's going to wait in the weeds or go right for it or trade up and get somebody running back. But, Montgomery will be serviceable, and they keep him on the move, maybe not as much between the tackles. A lot of dump-offs, a lot of screens, the usual, then bring in the big fullback and steal some touchdown carries. Yeah, you just never know what Ted's going to do, but it sure would be nice if he went and got a Dalvin Cook or something along those lines.
What about Mixon? Do you think he'd take Mixon at the end of the first? Green Bay doesn't care, right? Right, Terry? I mean, it's owned by these faux shareholders. Like, these people have no voting rights.
Faux holders.
No, I agree.
Bag holders. Right?
Yeah.
You think that every year,
Right.
but man, he won't pull the trigger on the troubled guys. But Mixon would be great. That would be a steal at the end of the first.
Terry, who do you think is more troubled, actually, Mixon or Dalvin? I'm not trying to dog on Dalvin Cook. I'm just saying Dalvin Cook's got
You're dogging on me through Dalvin Cook. Is what you're doing right now.
It's like a passive-aggressive question.
Yeah.
So, Dalvin Cook's had some issues.
Let me ask you something, Terry. Polish guys. I mean, who the hell needs them, right? All right, go ahead.
Dalvin Cook's had some issues. He went to Florida State. Balky's a Florida State fan. I mean, I'm not going to infer too much about that. It's the character of people who like Florida State players. But, so tell me a little bit about what you think. Is Mixon or Dalvin Cook who has more of a personality issue?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that the deal breaker would be the shoulder on Dalvin Cook, because I think he's a little gun shy after a couple of defensive ends that's in the first and second round that didn't didn't pan out. So I don't see him taking Dalvin Cook with any sort of shoulder injury, shoulder problem. I think he'd pass at that point.
All right, there
so
you
go.
You know, that's the thing is you'd have if Thompson selected Dalvin Cook for Green Bay, you just every week would be like, well, let's hope Dalvin Cook's shoulder is good enough and Ty Montgomery's sickle cell trade is good enough, and if one of them can't go, hopefully the other guy's injury will be. I mean, you're setting
no doubt.
You're setting yourself up for to have the same problems you did in 2016 if you did that. So you remember a couple maybe a month ago, Dave, Christian McCaffrey was being mocked to the Green Bay Packers at 29.
I'm now laughing.
I'm
laughing.
Unless you're what's his name from the football guys.
Ron Meyer.
No, from the football guys board that you were talking.
Hank Moody.
Hank Moody. Yeah, Hank Moody was probably
Hank's, even Hank's on board at this point. He's like he's trying to trade up to the 102.
Yeah, exactly. Terry Simonson, our guest tonight here on the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour. He won the 500 number 8 FFPC Dynasty League last year. He's finished in the top 2 twice in the last 3 years. A couple of emails for you tonight, Terry. First one is from Jim in Yucaipa. I think it's Yucaipa, California. Hi, Terry. As a Dynasty owner, what is the most intriguing situation that you will be looking at when you watch the draft this weekend? That is from Jim in Yucaipa, California. Thank you so much for the email, Jim. So, Terry, you look at the draft. There are some glaring holes at skill positions for several NFL teams. What's the one that you'll be paying closest attention to see how they fill it either on day 1 or day 2?
Well, as a fan, of course, it's always the Packers pick first. But, dynasty-wise, it's like every year you just see where those running backs end up. And I don't have a lot of picks. So, just kind of keep an eye on where the running backs end up. And the best I can say, I guess, nothing sticks out. I'm pretty much set on quarterback. So, in wide receivers, running backs and wide receivers are where they end up. That's just take it all in, look at the big picture, and sit back and hope the Packers take Mixon.
Dave, you brought this up on the show a couple of times. Sometimes it's not about, we look at where the holes are that we see for these NFL teams, where there is an opportunity for fantasy goodness. But NFL teams don't always see the same holes. They don't always see the opportunity for fantasy that we do. And you've said, look, it doesn't really matter where we see the holes. It matters where these teams view their holes are and what they do in the first round. If they go out and grab a running back in the first round, even if they don't necessarily have a glaring opening for a starter there, we need to pay attention to that guy.
Perfect example is the Leonte Cruz last year.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that's a bad example because he sucked.
Right.
But actually, if he had done anything, that was a perfect example. They didn't really need him. They traded up to get him. But obviously, it was just a bad
Another
pick.
sucky example, Tyler Lockett.
See? But the point being that these teams think they need these players.
The great thing about it is if these teams do trade up to get a certain player, if they do sink a high draft pick in, it doesn't necessarily matter. Our valuation of these players is there's much less emphasis on it than what these NFL teams do because they're the ones making the decisions. And even if we think this guy sucks, if this team puts this many resources into him or this high of a pick into him, that means they're going to give him a long leash. This guy's going to be given an incredible opportunity to succeed. Whereas the flip side of that is maybe we really like a guy and he slips to the 3rd or 4th round. No matter how much you like him, you have to downgrade him in your rankings because the team that got him clearly did not think of him as a 1st round or a 2nd round or even an early 3rd round pick.
Neither did the other teams in the NFL.
Neither did the other teams in the NFL. So I think
especially once you get to the 4th round. 4th round is like danger
That's
zone.
day 3. So days 1 and 2, those are the big days, and then 3 is just kind of whatever. Okay.
Some of those guys are just fine.
Yeah, Tom Brady.
Jordan Howard.
Jordan Howard.
Everyone loves him.
Just garbage. Just worthless.
I blew it.
All right. Greg in Coral Gables, Florida. Hey, Terry.
Miami.
Just to add on that, the way I run my teams, I'm more nervous at free agent time with those guys moving around than draft time because I just don't have a lot of picks. I got a lot of veterans. So, a one win this year was Djax, I think, going to Tampa for me. So, like I said, free agency is sometimes a little bit more nerve-wracking than the actual draft.
That's true, actually.
Yeah.
Especially if you have the veterans, like, where's Torrey Smith going? Where's Deshaun Jackson going?
Yeah, totally. Or how does, like, the guys on those teams, how does it affect?
Or, like Jamal Charles. I mean, he's still just chilling, trying to post Instagram videos like, hey, man, I'm good. And then AP gets signed by the Saints.
I was reading an article on CBS Sports today, and the headline was Charles being linked to Packers. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. And, like, the source that they used
was
for
his agent?
No, it was some guy being interviewed on like a podcast for a blog or
That's
something.
Worse than us.
And he just was rattling off a bunch of teams that Jamal Charles could go to, and the Packers is among like 7 or 8 teams. And the headline: Packers linked to Jamal Charles. Like, this is like the weakest link ever. Goodbye.
We should try and start a draft rumor.
I think Tupacker wants to start one about McCaffrey having a diluted sample.
It's too high level. We need like a crappier guy.
I don't want to ruin a crappy guy's career. And let's face it, we have the resources to do it on this crappy podcast.
I'm sure we do.
Terry, one more email here for you tonight. It's from Greg in Coral Gables, Florida. He writes, hey, Terry, how active are you as far as trading goes? Do you initiate a lot of offers, or do you happen to be doing more rejecting and countering? Congrats on the FFPC success. Greg in Coral Gables, Florida. I know for me, Terry, unless I'm engaged in a discussion where I can tell there's mutual interest between me and the other, player, competitor. I'm just thinking about like, God, that sounds like how my dating approach back in the day.
Yeah,
like,
you're like the hot girl, where you're like, get lost.
Yeah,
now.
no, like I'm just like I don't like to waste my time with too. I will initiate, but I don't like to waste my time with too many of them. But once I see that there's mutual interest, let's pound it out.
What the hell are you talking about? Terry, please talk.
It's the same thing with dating as it is for Dynasty trading. Terry, what's your philosophy? Dynasty porno. What's your philosophy on that?
I will throw out. I'll go through. I'll set some time apart, and I'll sit down and I'll go through people's rosters on the trade page, and I'll send out. I might pick a guy that I like, and I'll send the offers out. I happen to end up with a lot of guys people don't want, so I guess which is good because some of the best moves I made are ones that people have denied. Trades they've denied, but I will send offers out. In this league, it's there's not a lot of that, but if someone all of a sudden puts their not that they put the guard down, but like Jordan Reed, I'll just send offers, and like I said, when I do it, I don't mess around and lowball. It's as close to the deals I want to be, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I think people appreciate that too.
Yeah.
Because when you get an email offer, you're like, oh, a trade offer, you're like, oh, another sucky.
Well, like, and people always like to say, like, oh, this is just an opening offer. Our producer Rob does this a lot. This is just an opening offer, and like,
Rob is the king of crappy.
Maybe he accepts it. He probably won't, but at least he'll get the discussion going. I see these offers. That is the quickest way for the discussion to end.
Yeah,
before it even starts.
True.
Like, look, if this is what you're gonna, it's ridiculous. Like, let's. Give me a serious offer. We'll work from there, and either it's going to work or it's not. But we will save time.
Right.
It's valuable. We don't have a lot of it. Let's not piss around with, hey, I want to trade my 4th-round pick for, somebody good. Jordan Howard.
Isaiah
Crowell.
A great stud like Crowell.
But, I mean, that's the thing. It's like I think it's just common courtesy to your league mates, and you want to be able to, keep these trade lines open in the future. So, and this is a quick way to be besmirched with the scarlet letter of the trading to do something like that.
Do you ever send lowball offers to follow up on that at all, Terry?
No, not really. It's just kind of a waste of time. If I don't know what they want, I'll email and be like, any interest in moving this guy? What's it going to take? Instead of sending an offer that's, I may not think's bad, but he might think, what the heck is he thinking? If we're nowhere near, most of these guys I've dealt with a few times. They'll say I have a pretty good idea of where they stand. No, I don't think that does any good. If you're going to send a lowball, just send them an email and say, hey, what's it going to take? Are you interested or not in moving that guy?
That's interesting. That's pretty. So he's using more of a rifle type approach.
Right.
See? So okay, if you're trying to get rid of a player, like I use a shotgun approach to get rid of a player if I don't want him anymore. Like let's say Alshon Jeffrey, I don't want him. I'll just throw out like a bunch of offers to like 11 teams that are kind of somewhat similar in scope or value, whether it's for rookie picks or whatever. Do you do that ever or not really?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, definitely. there's a handful of guys. I guess you kind of look at what you think their needs are, and if they're anywhere in the ballpark of needing, if you're moving Alshon, if they're interested in a wide receiver, then yeah, send it. But yeah, I try to be a little bit more concentrated. Or a lot of times our message board's pretty good in this league. People come right out and say, look, I'm moving these 3 guys. It's going to take, a first round, a second round, and et cetera, et cetera. So it's a pretty straightforward league. So I guess it's pretty fortunate in this league. Some of the other leagues I'm in, not so much.
Why am I not in leagues like this, Balky?
Because you cannot play in FFPC.
I know. I'm just saying, I'm in a couple private leagues or whatever. Anyway.
With some of these people that play in FFPC.
Not these people.
Right, yeah. Not these specific. Well, you know who's in this one. Start up a private league with these guys.
Well,
yeah.
They're FFPC customers. I feel like
that's a good point, yeah.
Alex may not care for that.
Yeah, he doesn't.
I'm trying to start a side Dynasty business of some sort.
Just
with myself so I can play more.
The Dizzle Fantasy Football, the FFDC Fantasy Football Dizzle Championship.
All right. There's like a Greg Ambrosius joke in there.
All right, moving on then.
Terry,
I don't want to get into that.
Give us a rookie. Final question. Give us a rookie that you think will be a Dynasty bust, and another rookie that will end up having big value as an FFPC second or third round Dynasty rookie draft pick.
So I know I should be a little bit better prepared for the day before the draft podcast, but bust, I just keep looking. Yes, I should be. But bust, I keep looking for it. I don't see too much. But I said, we'll come up with 2 value picks. And, of course, everybody's come up with Smith-Schuster, right? He was great under Kessler in 15 and then, suffered with Darnold. But also, it seems to be a lot of people talking up Samaje Perine. So, those 2 guys, I think, something, especially where I'm picking, that might get some value out of that.
Yeah, I think that I would say there's probably a more than 50% chance that at least one of those guys is there at 112. Don't you think so? Dave?
Yeah, I do. With the tight ends class, for sure.
Yeah. Maybe the first 5 picks will all be tight ends in the FFPC rookie draft this year. With the 105, Bucky Hodges. The 106, Leonard Fournette.
I don't think so.
Yeah, probably not. Hey, listen, Terry, it was quite a pleasure having you on the show tonight. I really appreciate you taking some time to sit and chat with us about your Dynasty philosophy. Congrats on all the success you've already had. Best of luck to you in the future. And we'll have to make it down to Wisconsin Dells and tip back a few. Captain Morgan's, of course.
Absolutely.
Best rum on the planet.
The official spiced rum of the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour. Thanks so much for coming on, man. Enjoy the NFL Draft.
Hey, thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Terry Simonson, the FFPC 500 number 8 champion. You can follow him on Twitter at TSIMY.
What is it?
TSIMY.
All right, I'm going to go follow him right now.
Do that. You probably already are, knowing how great you are on Twitter.
I'm getting up there. I'm not quite to your level yet, Paul.
Yeah, whatever. I just passed, like a week ago, I passed 1,600 followers. And then.
Did you buy my same thing?
No, I didn't. I do mine organically. But then I dropped below.
Whiskey peddler.
Yeah. I dropped below 1,600. I can't remember. I tweeted out something, and all of a sudden I lost like 3 followers when I was below 1,600. But I went back over 1,600 again today. So
probably one of your Hillary comments.
What?
Hillary?
This is so ridiculous that you just throw these political bullets at me.
I never do it on the show, actually.
No.
We privately make jokes that Balky was a closet Hillary supporter.
Yeah. Yes, jokes. That may or may not be true.
I have no idea.
So I'm not. Whatever.
You're very non-committal politically, and good for you, Balky.
Yes, I'm non-committal with everything. My wife and
you're in the middle of the road. You drive right down the center line.
My wife and 2 kids may not go home to him tonight. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where the wind takes me. I have no idea.
I have a feeling.
What's going to happen? Listen, I do know what's going to happen after the break. We are going to get into some NFL draft prop bets. We'll tell you what side we're on, and we're going to make up some of our own. It's going to be a wacky, bonkers finish to this show. You're listening to the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour. Eric Balkman and the Dizzle coming at you on the Fantasy Sports Radio Network. Welcome back to the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour. I'm Eric Balkman. He's Dave Gerzak. We're broadcasting this show live on blogtalkradio.com/HSFF tonight, Wednesday night. If you're listening to it, downloading it later, or listening to the Fantasy Sports Radio Network, listen, thanks for tuning in but we're probably not offering anything of relevance because so much has happened over the last 48 hours.
But you've been listening this long, so why turn it off now?
Yeah, just keep going.
You're not doing anything.
Because now you can really get to the part of where you can make fun of us, because we're going to talk about draft prop bets. This is the first year that Vegas has offered these draft prop bets. Now, a lot of them weren't really specific to fantasy football. There's only a few of them. There's other ones like, what's the over-under on how many SEC players get drafted? The spread between offensive and defensive players drafted in the first round.
Those are the ones that the Vegas Gaming Commission forces you to do, like the sucky ones.
Yeah, and we will get into 3 of the sucky ones. But then I made up some, and I made up some fake point spreads. I didn't put a whole lot of time into this.
Oh, great.
Yes, but we can modify it, and I don't know if you want to make these all separate. I got 5 on it.
Sure, whatever.
Separate ones, or you just want to lump them all together?
Yeah, do them separate. How many you got? Like 10? 5?
Yeah, 10.
All right, fine. Who cares?
Well, we'll see what happens.
It's going to be a big money.
All right, so the first...
For us.
Yes. So the first one... my kids are going to go to community college. The first one is over under 3.5 quarterbacks taken in round 1. So the over-under is 3.5.
Do I just get to pick, or do you want...
I don't...
How about I'll pick one?
Typically,
and then you pick the next one?
okay, that's fine.
Right.
But we got to agree to it. I don't want to, if we're both on the same side, we're either moving the spread or we're not doing it.
I'll take under.
Yeah, see, I would too. I don't see 4 quarterbacks going.
Okay.
Do you want to do 4? I mean, it just end up being a push.
Well, I mean, why don't we do
3? Excuse me, not 4. No,
I'll take
under 4.
Move the line higher.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure, 3.
So 3, and then
I'll take either way. At 3. You can then pick.
Then I'll take. Well, okay, this is gonna be interesting. Now I just moved the spread.
The show can only go on for so long, Balky.
All right. No, I would take the over at 3.
That cool? I guess I'll take the under.
All right. I'm not.
I feel like I'm getting.
Rob, do not play the drop. Well, I probably
feel like the 3 is a lot.
We don't have to do it then.
No, let's do it. I'll do it. I want to do it.
Okay. Next one. Over under 2.5 running backs selected in round 1. So you're saying over.
Yeah.
I will take the under on that one, my friend. All right. Under. And we're not moving that. All right, here's a fun one.
After all, Cook's going to the Packers.
Yes, in the 3rd round. The first kicker off the board, does it happen in rounds 1 through 3, or does it happen in rounds 4 through 7?
See, okay, this is a real prop.
This is a real prop.
This is so stupid that they even offer this. I mean, this is I lived in Vegas, I'd put like $20,000 on the 4 through 7. It's like the dumbest match.
I'll take 1 through 3.
Fine. $20,000?
No, not $20,000. I got 5 on it.
You're taking 1 through 3?
Yes. We'll take 1 through 3.
Why? Who's the one in 1 through 3?
I don't know, but there's always some team out there that has this.
No, there is not.
Yes, there is. There was last year.
That was the only time. It had not been done in a long time.
Listen, you have all these analytics guys out there know that understanding the importance of a kicker in the NFL.
Wow.
Somebody's going to do it. It's going to happen.
It's such a lot. If you're able to bet this, bet the 4 through 7. And by the way, if no kicker or punter gets drafted in the draft, it's a moot bet. The bet gets pushed, or you get it all.
If none of them, if no
kicker,
it's not punter. It's just kicker.
If no
just
kicker is drafted in the draft, you get your money back. You don't even lose.
Well, somebody's going to get drafted.
Not every year, by the way. In case you haven't.
I got 5 on a kicker being drafted somewhere. Then.
Well, yeah. I mean, okay, someone's probably going to get drafted like in the 6th round.
Or the 3rd.
Every year.
Maybe the 2nd.
Dude, you are so full of crap.
Well, we'll find out how full of crap I am after Friday night.
Day 2. Exactly.
All right.
These people are laughing on Saturday. Ha ha ha! No kicker.
Like ha ha ha! Gerzak, there's already 4 kickers off the board. This is insane.
That would be.
Boy, Balky's so smart. Okay, moving on. These are the ones that I made up. Right. So Fournette versus McCaffrey. Who gets picked first? And the spread is 5.5 spots for Fournette.
I'll take McCaffrey though. Plus 5.5. All
right.
You want to do that one?
Oh yeah. I'll do it. Right. Fournette. It was probably a mistake. I'll take Fournette minus 5.5. You're just
maybe or maybe not, because I mean, if Fournette goes, let's say, to Carolina at 8, McCaffrey could go 15 to the Colts. So 14, he might be all right.
I just got to check my phone here, but at 2Packer #diluted sample. Just he really wants to make this happen.
Yeah.
I got to work together. I got to retweet and like now.
Good luck.
To try to because I got a stake in this.
Your 1,500 people will make a difference.
Receivers, who gets drafted first? Mike Williams minus 4.5 or Corey Davis?
All
right, so it must have been a good spread.
That is fairly good. I feel like Williams is going to get drafted first.
Well, that's why he has the.
I'll take Davis.
All right, I'll take Williams.
That might be a losing bet by me.
Well, I just made a losing bet with Fournette.
Yeah,
so
that's okay.
All right, so you
Fun.
can get the Mike Williams diluted sample tweet going.
Anyway.
Mike Williams, armed robbery. Okay. Here's another receiver one. Corey Davis or John Ross? Corey Davis minus 0.5.
I'll take Davis.
All right, I'll take Ross.
Oh, you're really hating on Ross.
No, why would I? I
mean, you're really hating on Davis.
Oh, okay.
All
right. And plus, okay. Tight ends, Dave. Boy, we were blowing through this faster than I thought we would,
Good.
but that's okay.
Right.
We got some other stuff.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the sickle cell trade.
Great. O.J. Howard.
I have a real problem with it.
Oh, did you have it?
No.
Oh, okay.
Do you know it happens to people from West Africa?
Oh, I didn't know. I had no idea.
Have you ever heard of a white person having sickle cell trait? It does happen.
I've never really thought about it to that level.
It's not a racial. I mean, it is a racial thing, but it's not like racist. It's just that unfortunately the sickle cell trait happens to people from West Africa. My question is, don't they do blood testing at the combine so you can test for the sickle cell trait?
I don't think they do that.
Why don't they?
I think there's something with the Players Association with the collective bargaining that they can't do blood testing at the combine.
So you could be HIV positive, no one's going to know about it.
No one's going to know.
That's ridiculous.
Well,
you're going to pay someone $50 million.
Talk to DeMaurice Smith because he's the guy that you.
Those guys do still have some leverage. Good for them.
O.J. Howard.
So now we've talked about the sickle cell.
Right. O.J. Howard. That took a minute. O.J. Howard versus David Njoku. O.J. Howard minus 10.5.
Nice.
Yeah.
10.5. This is pretty good.
All right.
Good handicap.
Yeah. Until I'm way off on it.
You know what? I'm going to take the dog on this. You know the reason why? I'm going to take Njoku because I want to see Howard get drafted, and then I can talk crap for the next 10 picks.
You know what's funny?
It'll be fun.
Because
it'll be more fun for the draft.
Right. If you would have let me pick this one, I would have taken Howard. So we clearly are.
So that's cool. Yeah.
Okay.
That'll be fun.
Good job. Okay, Kareem Hunt. This is the same kicker thing. Will he be drafted?
Hunt is actually a hyped up guy, like a secretly hyped up Toledo guy.
He is being secretly hyped up, so this could be interesting. Does he get selected in rounds 1 through 3 or rounds 4 through 7?
I'll say 1 through 3.
All right, I will say 4 through 7.
All right.
Good.
This is a huge action year.
I thought we were gonna, this would, whatever. This is the first year we're trying this. Okay, so Dalvin Cook, round 1 or 2. We already actually bet on that earlier in the show, so we can't. We're not going to throw it out, but we will not bet on it again. Okay, but let's talk about this Dalvin Cook thing.
Yes.
We were going to talk about.
By the way, these players probably know they have a sickle cell trait already when they're getting drafted.
Really?
Yeah, I'm sure they're aware of it.
Why? How would they?
Because they probably had blood tests.
Oh.
It is.
Okay. Yeah, I guess you're right. So I would know if I had it, right?
It's kind of like misrepresentation.
I've never been to West Africa.
But you don't catch it. It's not like getting a disease.
Oh, it's like native to that.
This isn't like outbreak. No, this is like a genetic disease that people that are West African descent get.
Oh, yeah, I don't have any.
25% of people that are from West Africa get this.
To my knowledge, no West Africa in my blood.
You don't appear to have any West African in you.
Well, you'd be surprised. You would be surprised. What was the Dalvin Cook bet that we were going to make when we were talking to Terry Simonson before? And you're like, let's talk about it later.
Oh, that he would get drafted specifically by the Packers.
Oh, okay.
And you thought 10-1 was outrageous that I would put such a high number on something like that.
Yeah, no, I don't think
specific player to the specific team.
In the first round, though.
Yes.
Okay, not overall.
Yeah.
They could trade up for him in the second round or something like that.
So how about this? The Packers draft Dalvin Cook at any point in the first round. So if they trade up or down.
Right.
All right, 8-1, 7-1.
7. We'll do 7-1. I'll do 7-1.
Okay.
Yeah, 7-1.
All right, fine.
All right, so 7. Jesus, this could ruin the whole season right now for me.
I'm not too worried about it.
7-1 anywhere in the first round, so they could trade a couple of spots down.
Have to take Cook. Yeah, he's going to take a lineman like he always does. This guy. He never takes running back.
They love drafting big people. That was the overarching theme.
Some big white offensive lineman from a Big Ten school. That's
Ryan Ramczyk?
Yeah, whatever. That's what he's going to take.
Yeah.
Or a guy from like an SEC school or a Pac-10 team that's a defensive tackle. Like those.
Right. Oh, they love the Pac-10.
Oh, yeah.
Bay does.
Oh, USC tackle.
Pac-12, whatever it is now. Okay. Zay Jones. This one we might have to move the line because I'm looking at it right now. I'm like, God, I shouldn't have said it there. Zay Jones. Where does he get drafted? Before or after pick 35.5?
I would say after. by quite a bit.
Yeah, that's because I read
think-
some mocks today where he was going in the late first.
I
And
would say like 50 is about a good.
Yikes! Really?
Yeah, I would say so. 40, 45, 45.
Yeah, 45 because that's like halfway through the second. Okay, which side would you want then? You would probably take after that.
I
right?
might take after, even though I like him actually.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I would take before.
All right.
On that.
Fine.
Okay. So Zay Jones. Yikes.
Steve Alkins, this is.
Well, there's
people are able to
hold
see
on. 45.5. So it's we can't push on it. Not that we would.
People can actually see. They can see the genius behind how we actually can collaborate if we really have to.
Right. Yeah. This is. This is just. I'm gonna have to listen to this podcast
I can
again
be agreeable.
because my chicken scratch is just awful. It's amazing we don't make more dynasty trades with how agreeable we're being tonight.
Well, we don't actually talk. We just send offers that insult each other.
Yeah.
Our team is pride, Paul Cuba.
Okay. I think that's the last.
All right. Great.
That is the last
All right,
one.
the show's over.
Now hold on. The show is not over.
Oh, right.
We've talked about a lot of rookie stuff tonight, and we kind of glossed over two things that happened officially this week with veterans. And I'll lead it off with Adrian Peterson signing with the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah.
What do you make of his value, not necessarily for Dynasty, but for redraft? In fact, specifically for redraft. Let's not talk about AP Dynasty value on the show. But his value in redraft leagues this year and how this affects Mark Ingram. What are your thoughts on what you're doing with these guys in drafts?
I think it's worse for Ingram, obviously, but I really don't put a lot of stock in AP's value. I don't know. I'm not buying.
You don't buy that New Orleans would be.
Kind of the same guy a little bit. I mean, Ingram's a little bit more of a pass catcher, right?
Do you know how many passes he caught last year? Don't look it up.
I'm not. I'm just
okay.
Hitting X on a Facebook post.
Yikes.
Ingram?
Yeah.
37.
46.
That's pretty good.
46 balls he caught last year, which is really caught me off guard. Now you're
Severus Cadet. Did he join the Navy?
I don't know.
This cadet.
Wouldn't it be Army?
Whatever.
What was interesting to me, you remember Mark Ingram getting kind of salty last year when Sean Payton would take him out near the goal line for Tim Hightower?
Oh, you mean that a player had an issue with something Sean Payton? Wow, that's weird.
Is this a thing?
Yes, it's a thing. Brandon Cooks, Jimmy Graham, now Mark Ingram.
I thought Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham was bothered by something else going on.
The love triangle is still true.
Right.
But it's Sean Payton. Maybe Sean Payton's just an a-hole. Has anyone ever considered that? Just because he looks like Malcolm in the Middle, he might be a jerk.
Maybe he is. I don't know. But you look at what he did with Mark Ingram last year.
Yeah.
Could we see more of Adrian Peterson doing that role this year? They're paying him, I believe I read on RotoWorld, they're paying him 3 times more than what the Niners paid Tim Hightower, who was last year's backup.
Right.
So clearly they want to use him. Peterson is pretty good in short yardage situations.
He is, for sure. Yeah.
And let's face it, New Orleans, they score a lot of touchdowns.
They do. But a lot of them are passing. I feel it's gonna be kind of a mess.
So
it's
an avoid for you
right now. In April, it's an avoid for me. It's a very tough situation to handicap. I would still probably, if in Dynasty, I'd lean towards trading for Ingram because he might be super cheap. Like you could probably deal like
27 years old, dude.
Yeah, but he might still be able to get a job somewhere else even next year.
I don't know. I mean, I think you're playing with fire.
What would you? So you don't think he's worth like a late second?
If I could get Mark Ingram for a late second, even if it was a late second this year, I'd rather have Ingram at that point.
All right.
So
I would too.
Yeah.
And you might be able to get him for that. I don't. These guys who own Ingram can't expect like a mid-first or late. He's not worth that anymore.
I think people would.
Then they're just dumb.
Well, then they're dumb, but that's the people you got to deal with.
I own him in Pirates Swag. I think I would not be unrealistic and expect like a first-round pick for him.
Let me just throw this at you. These guys are not exactly spring chickens. What would happen if one of them went down?
Who?
Either Ingram or Peterson. All of a sudden, the other guy's the man.
I think the other one becomes a high-level RB2.
You're a top 15 back?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, but nothing in the Elliott, David Johnson type range, Le'Veon Bell type range. Maybe a low-end RB1. I mean,
in juicy matchups, yeah.
A low-end RB1 is not really a tough,
bar to jump over.
It's not. I mean,
Frank Gore's been doing it for years.
Yeah, 200 points or whatever it is. It's really nothing. That's why McCaffrey is so enticing because it's like, oh, you can catch 5 passes in a game. Hey, sign me up. You're the number 1 pick. That's like 10 points right there. And then everything else is a bonus. I want to say,
I've ripped on Bill Belichick and the Patriots for many years because of how they treat their running backs for fantasy purposes. I want to send them a heartfelt thank you this year.
Now they've really done it for you?
Yeah. They've signed Rex Burkhead. They upped James White. They have Brandon Bolden, and now they signed Mike Gillislee. I want to thank them.
Going to get cut.
I want to thank them, Dave, for muddying it up so much that there is no reason that you should, in a redraft league, be paying any attention to any of these guys.
You're taking no stabs.
No. In a DE, sure. And I won't be that upset about it because those guys will have value at some point. Each one of those guys will have value at some point. And I won't have to worry about when I start them. But in redraft, screw that, man. I give me somebody else that I can count on. And I can't count on any of those three guys for predicting when their big weeks are going to be.
Yeah, it really is tough, actually. I'm kind of taking Dion Lewis out of the equation a little bit, which may or may not be a mistake.
I didn't even mention Dion Lewis, for God's sake.
Yeah, I'm taking him out a little bit. I feel like he's the kind of the odd man out. So James White, to me, is kind of the pass-catching back. Gillislee is the goal line Garrett Blount.
He's the new Blount, yeah.
And then Burkhead is like a what-the-hell guy.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he's the best of both of all.
Maybe he's the new Woodhead.
I mean, he could be.
Yeah.
It's so tough.
Yeah, it is.
I do feel there's some value there at some point. I just don't know where it's at right now. I mean, if I had to pick one player right now, I feel like Burkhead is the most talented of the three backs, and then Gillislee after that.
All right, that is going to do it for our show, ladies and gentlemen, our NFL Draft Preview Show. I want to thank Terry Simonson, Dave Gerzak, the FFPC, Rob, Bryce, and, of course, you for tuning in on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whenever you're listening to this. Thank you so much. Next week, we are back 9/8 Central. It is going to be an hour early for covering the Genesis and Revelations drafts. That's 9/8 Central on Friday, the first live redrafts we will have broadcast right here on the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour. We'll get some player interviews, drafter interviews on the show. That'll be a lot of fun.
We're covering Genesis still?
Yes, we are. Make your Planet Hollywood reservations now. Sign up for the main event draft now with Satellites and Dynasty at myffpc.com. Scott Engel and the Fantasy Hall of Fame Hour is up next on Fantasy. Enjoy the draft. Your draft weekend starts now.
This has been another episode of the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour presented by myffpc.com that was broadcast live and heard around the world. Eric and Dave will be back next week with more analysis, interviews, and advice from a guest much smarter than they are. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk with you again next week.
Him again, the sound the engine in is like a bird. You see fireworks and Corvette tires skirt the boulevard. I know how you work, I know just who you are. See, use a bitch, you almost probably switch inside your DNA.
The total record tonight, 10, I got 5 on it.
Holy crap.
Including a 7-1.
We've already hit the casino a day early.
We really have. It's maybe Thursday night will be a good omen whether how much I should invest into gambling, seeing how everything works out.
Let it ride tomorrow?
Yeah, well, you never know. I just look for a very fun weekend with some good company and hopefully a fun draft. Enjoy it, everybody.